The scream tore through the morning like a fire alarm, high-pitched and raw, as if Sarah had stumbled on a rattlesnake. But it wasn't a snake. It was a 20-pound Flemish giant rabbit, a buck named Titan, charging at her in broad daylight, ears pinned back like a linebacker, eyes zeroed in like he'd been waiting for this moment his whole life. And all this chaos, it started because Sarah couldn't keep her hands off feed that wasn't hers. It was a quiet morning, the kind where the sun spills over the hills, painting the pasture in warm orange. I was on my porch, coffee in hand, listening to the birds and the soft hum of cicadas. Everything felt right until I glanced at the rabbit hutch. The feed bin looked wrong. Not empty, but lighter than it should have been. I'd filled it just yesterday, 50 pounds of premium pellets for my 6 Flemish giants. Even on their hungriest day, they couldn't plow through 20 pounds overnight. Something was off. At first, I wondered if raccoons had gotten bold or if a neighbor's kid was messing around. But deep down I knew. Sarah. She was the neighborhood's self-appointed queen, strutting around with her HOA badge like it was a crown. She thought every fence, mailbox, and flower bed was hers to control. A month back, she'd marched up to my place, lips pursed, and declared my hutch an eyesore, my feed bin an unapproved container. I asked for the rule in writing. She didn't have it, just huffed and stomped back to her pristine sidewalk. That was the first red flag. Then the feed started vanishing. Not all at once, but a scoop here, a scoop there, like someone was testing how much they could take before I noticed. I'm not the type to let patterns slide. I started checking the bin daily, marking the levels with a Sharpie. I even tucked a twig under the lid. Any tampering would knock it loose. Sure enough, the next morning, the twig was on the ground. No storm, no wind. Someone had been here, and it wasn't a fox. I didn't confront anyone yet. Instead, I dusted off an old trail cam from deer season, set it up to face the hutch, and waited. The next day, the twig was gone again, the feed lower. I pulled the footage. There she was, Sarah, in flip-flops and floral pajamas, a tote bag slung over her shoulder. She crept up like a thief, lifted the lid, and scooped feed like she was at a bulk store. Then she sauntered off, not a care in the world. I could have knocked on her door right then, but that's not how I handle things. I had a better plan, and his name was Titan. Titan wasn't your average bunny, a Flemish giant. He was the size of a small dog, with the attitude of a bouncer. He was sweet with me and my kids, but strangers? He'd thump the ground hard enough to shake your boots. Once, he chased a stray mutt clear across the yard. People laughed when I called him my gar rabbit until they met him. I tweaked the hutch, rigging a latch to spring open if the feed bin was touched during Titan's active hours. He was smart, trained to stay close and charge anything that invaded his turf. All I had to do was wait. 2 mornings passed quietly. On the third, I heard the bin lid creak. I peeked out the kitchen window. Sarah was back, hunched over, scoop in hand. Then click. The latch popped. Titan exploded from the hutch like a furry missile. Sarah's scream could have shattered glass. She dropped her bag, stumbled into my roses, and flailed as Titan charged, thumping the ground like a war drum. He didn't bite, didn't need to. He just stood his ground, nose twitching, daring her to move. She tried to sidestep. He shadowed her. She bolted for the fence, scrambling over it like her life depended on it. One slipper caught in the wire, flapping like a white flag. I stepped onto the porch, took a slow sip of coffee, and said nothing. Titan stood by the hutch, ears up, watching her limp down the sidewalk, red-faced and muttering. That was the moment everything changed. Sarah thought she owned this neighborhood, with her rules and her smug letters. But she'd miscalculated. She underestimated Titan and me. For 2 days, silence. No HOA notices, no complaints. Too quiet. Sarah wasn't the type to slink away. On the 3rd morning, a white envelope appeared in my mailbox, stamped with the HOA seal. Inside was a violation notice, improper livestock containment, unapproved feed storage, even a noise complaint. Titan's thumps, apparently. I had 10 days to dismantle the hutch, lock up the feed, and apply for a livestock exemption. The irony was thicker than molasses. She'd stolen my feed, got run off by a rabbit, and now I was the problem? I needed intel. I grabbed a 6-pack of root beer and headed to Mike's place, 2 houses down. A retired vet with a limp and eyes like a hawk. Mike knew everyone's business. He nearly choked laughing when I told him about Titan's chase. Turns out, the trail cam footage had leaked to a local Facebook group, dubbed Bunny vs. HOA Witch. Sarah was a meme, now clips of her sprint with boxing gloves on Titan. Her screams swapped for a goat's bleat. But Mike warned me. Sarah was rallying her loyal HOA cronies, pushing a new rule to ban animals over 10 pounds. It had outlawed Titan, big dogs, even hefty cats, all under the guise of safety. She was coming for blood. Then Lisa, another HOA board member, showed up at my door with banana bread and a nervous look. She didn't like Sarah's tactics and tipped me off about a surprise inspection. Lisa had her own history. Sarah had forced her to ditch her chickens years ago. Now, she was done staying quiet. That night, I watched Titan hop under the moonlight, his strut prouder than ever. Sarah wanted a fight. Fine, I'd give her one. I prepped for the inspection like a general. Feed went into a locked barn. The hutch got a fresh coat of paint, surrounded by potted plants to blend in. I even trimmed the hedges and took down the wind chimes. The place was spotless. The morning of the inspection, Sarah arrived with 2 board members, clipboard in hand, sunglasses hiding her eyes. Lisa gave me a subtle nod. The other guy, Tom, just shuffled along. Sarah circled the hutch, scribbling like she was grading it. Everything was perfect, too perfect. She asked if the rabbits were still here, as if the hutch didn't scream the answer. I said yes, but reminded her there were no violations. She tried to argue Titan was livestock, needing a license. I asked for the rule. She said it was in Re-VYEW. I said it wasn't law yet. Checkmate. She asked to take photos. I agreed if I could record her on my phone. Her smile vanished, but she snapped her pictures. Titan watched from the hutch, ears forward, like he remembered her. Sarah's steps quickened as she left. The inspection report was a joke. Claims of soil disruption, predator attraction, even the hutch as a tripping hazard. But the real kicker? A proposal to ban animals over 10 pounds and limit enclosure sizes. It was aimed at Titan, clear as day. The neighborhood was waking up. Lisa shared the chase video, and the Facebook group exploded. Neighbors posted about Sarah's petty finds, birdhouses, wreaths, vegetable pots. At the HOA meeting, the room was packed, not the usual 10 regulars, but over 30, from retirees to teens. Sarah stood at the front, pin clicking, ignoring the crowd. She pitched her new rule, calm as a snake, calling Titan a threat. Silence hung heavy. Then Lisa stood. She didn't yell. She just listed Sarah's abuses, bullying, theft, power trips. Then she played the video. Laughter rippled. Sarah tried to interrupt, but the room drowned her out. Mike stood, cane in hand, and said Titan had more integrity than the board. The crowd clapped. Sarah's rule died. A vote for new leadership was called. She walked out, heels clicking alone. Then things got weird. A camera appeared on the HOA signpost, aimed at my yard. Lisa confirmed Sarah installed it. No vote, no approval. I didn't touch it. Instead, I gave a show, Titan's hutch sparkling, me reading the HOA handbook aloud, while VYing at the lens. But that night, my security footage caught Sarah creeping near the hutch after 9 p.m., sprinkling something by the base. My stomach dropped. I checked Titan was fine, but this was no game anymore. I sent the footage to the HOA ethics committee. Within days, Sarah was suspended. Her camera came down. A box appeared on my porch, unopened rabbit feed, and the latch she'd tampered with. Too little, too late. The election was a landslide. Lisa became president, Mike VYC president, Tom treasurer. Sarah tried one last job, a small claims suit for emotional distress from Titan's chase. The judge watched the footage, saw her minor bruise, and tossed the case with a sigh. At the neighborhood potluck, we celebrated. Kids played, grills smoked, and Titan strutted on a leash, a hero. A poster board mocked Sarah's band's gnomes, flags, and Titan's proud face. The mural on the clubhouse, "Buck around and find out," stayed untouched. Weeks later, a MOVYing truck parked at Sarah's house. She left without a word, her lawn dry, her bird bath filthy. The neighborhood breathed easier. Titan's hutch became a landmark, with a protected by Titan sign. Porches filled with laughter, rules became guidelines, and trust grew like weeds. One night, I sat with Titan, his thumps soft against the grass. This wasn't just about a rabbit. It was about standing up, fighting back, and winning without losing yourself. The stars shone brighter that night, and for the first time in years, this place felt like home. So what do you think? Was Sarah just a control freak? Or did she have a point about neighborhood standards? Should I have confronted her directly instead of letting Titan handle it? And what would you do if someone like her tried to rule your block? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories where the underdog or under-rabbit wins big.